Flat Earth Debate, live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Jin, Wandek, Arthur, Click OK, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Not raw data.
Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
So there's been an alleged deviation from measurements in the pre-show by AI overlord, otherwise known as Theo Megaworthy. And as the conclusion was just drawn in the pre-show, and you've just heard me effing and blinding about this racist guy, it doesn't matter. You don't need data to know how Earth is measured when you're in straight and level flight. Now, you can show on the pitch data that you pitch up with respect to horizontal, and you can have somebody who's shilling for the globe tell you, well, pitch up with respect to horizontal means horizontal's bending, so it'd look the same on a curve, when gaslighting you into believing something that isn't true. Meanwhile, if you've got a set of eyeballs and you can look at something, you can see how flat it is and how not globe-shaped it is. But I don't need pitch data to make an argument, because there isn't an argument when you talk about how flights are measured. They're measured off the surface level with an altitude. That's a feet measurement called out for straight and level flight. Do I need pitch data to point out that Earth's measured flat for flights? No. You can get to the point where literally you've got no instrumentation or power running to any of the instrumentation, including the black box data. And what do they use as a last resort to remain in level flight? Well, they use the horizon, so they can pitch up with respect to horizontal and keep the plane from descending towards the ground. That's what they do. So this isn't in need of a piece of paper, but we have got the measurements on a piece of paper. It's used by the NTSB when they study people's death. It will hold up in a court of law. So if you've got some shill racist telling you anybody who uses the pitch data, blah, 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 yeah, know this. The NTSB use the pitch data from black boxes, and they show Earth's measured flat with it. It's not an argument, it's a statement of absolute unequivocal fact based on the measurements shown on the data. I don't even need the measurements on the data, because remaining in straight and level flight is a fundamental principle that's used by pilots daily. And the feet themselves is an altitude from the surface level. We're all familiar with sea level. We're all familiar with flight controllers calling out the flight level for a plane to be at. We're all familiar with the parallel lines that the different directions of flights take so they don't crash into each other. Now, those are axiomatic principles that aren't me arguing for a flat Earth. It's me beating the living daylights out of any shill racist who pretends that these aren't flat Earth data points and they're actually the same if they are on a globe. No, I've got eyeballs. I can look at the data points and I can know how high off a flat Earth a feet measurement from sea level is if you're going to remain parallel with the surface level in level flight. Notice all the different levels that I talked about. Yeah, I don't need any measurements. Do you notice how there's nothing in my hands? I don't need pitch data to point out how flight level is level when it's parallel with the sea level that you want to remain in straight and level flight with. I don't need any piece of paper to do that. I can do it with my tongue. Right, it's Thursday. Should we do a bit of housekeeping or should we keep it till tomorrow?
I think we should stick with the program. We said Friday. Let's keep it at Friday.
Fair enough. We have got a video that we'll be covering from Michael Kahn. So Michael Kahn, one of my patrons, actually shared this with me. And I think he's hearing me cry out to the people on the panel to actually provide me with normies going through general normie measurements of Earth. Not shills that say, look, I know that these elevation profiles are shown horizontally, and I know that they're measurements with respect to sea level, but that's just for convenience, like. Just convenient to show it as straight and horizontal, and you know, it's the same as being globe-shaped. It's the same as saying, yeah, I see the emperor's penis and arsehole, but it's the same as if he had clothes on. They're invisible threads. It would be the same. Yeah, that's what people are doing when they're telling you that these flat Earth obvious data points or flat Earth measurements in a straight horizontal box measured with respect to a sea level, they're the same as if they're curved. Now, if you've got eyeballs, you'll know when someone tells you, no, something that's flat is the same as being globe-shaped. Think, am I being gaslit? Am I being told that when the lights are on, it's the same as when they're off? Because you are. Now, if you're not a dimwit, you'll know that when something's globe-shaped, it's globe-shaped. And when it's flat, it's not the same as being globe-shaped. Being told that sea level is the same as being sea curve. It isn't. If you want to remain parallel with it in flight level. These are axioms that keep people from dying, and when they deviate from that straight and level flight measured with respect to a parallel surface level, it means they're crashing into the frigging ground. Now, fortunately, we've got measurements that are used by the National Transportation Safety Board, that's the NTSB, when investigating people's deaths. And they don't muck around with this stuff. But there's going to be shills out there that make it seem like they're my data points. Not life and death data points used by the National Transportation Safety Board. Nathan's data points. Flat earthers using them. No, because that makes it almost seem like it's an argument. It's not. These are measurements of Earth and they are flat. It's not me making an argument for them being flat. They are flat. Flight level is parallel with surface level. Heights, that's elevations, are perpendicular to a plane of reference. That's what elevation is. Now, these are axiomatically flat Earth measurements. Nothing's going to change that. This is not an argument. I'm just stating facts. Very basic facts that are easy to comprehend, but do require people who believe they're on a ball to tell you that they're not quite as you believe. Actually, when you see something flat, straight and parallel, it's bending. Now, you can be that numpty dipshit that tells yourself that something that's flat would actually be the same as if it's globe-shaped. But know this. If you get taken in, you're basically saying the emperor's got clothes when he's standing in front of you naked. That's what you're doing. Makes you dumb. Make no mistake about it. And there's people out there that want to make you that dumbo by telling you something flat is actually the same as globe-shaped. Something that's parallel with surface level, it'd be the same on a globe. But parallel, axiomatically, the antithesis of being curving? No, definitely not. But liars and shills will tell you otherwise when we spit these facts of flat Earth measurements at you. You'll be told, nah, we need to argue about whether or not something that's flat would be the same as if it was globe-shaped. Because then it's almost like we've got an argument. When prior to them stepping in, you just had flat Earth measurements. They're still flat Earth measurements. You're being gaslit by shills. That's what's happening. People who want to tell themselves that something that's flat would be the same if it's globe-shaped. A horizontal elevation profile in Google Earth. Yeah, it's horizontal. Yeah, it's measured from sea level. But that's the same as if it was globe-shaped. Yeah? Idiots if you get taken in by it. It's not my fault anymore if you can't take a simple fact of flat Earth measurement and process it as exactly that. You've got to say, maybe this flat Earth prerequisite measurement that's axiomatically requiring it be flat and level, maybe that's the same as if it was globe-shaped. Then you're a dimwit, and you've only got yourself to blame.
Nathan, the guys in NTSB, are they professionals?
They're investigating people's deaths, Neil. They're about as professional as you can be.
I don't see a problem here, then.
Yeah, when they measure Earth flat with the pitch data, they're measuring Earth flat with pitch data and then investigating why they didn't remain in straight and level flight parallel with the ground, because they crashed into it. And they can see the descent over a distance that's measured horizontally for when they left the parallel flight level and eventually crashed into the flat ground, measured with a horizontal distance on those measurements. Go, Jin.
I thought it was one deck.
Go ahead, one deck. Or don't.
Sorry, I was just saying, even if you let the definition of a pitch angle definition in aeroplane navigation, it does tell you it's the pitch up from the horizontal plane, which would be the surface of Earth, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, he gave you a hard time too, right?
Well, yeah, I can't. Yeah, you don't use the word horizontal, whatever you do.
Len Leon says, come on, Nathan, everyone knows aircraft navigate Earth's curve. The aircrafts are known as air curves, after all. Thank you for the super chat. Right, I'm going to put this link to the name of this channel, the Map Reading Company, in the live stream chat. So this is going to be whooshing its way by for you as an audience member to pop along to the Map Reading Company and let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots, or indeed this very pleasant videographer himself. So we're going to cover some of this particular video. I haven't actually watched it all the way through, far from it. I've watched about 30 seconds of it and then gone, this is perfect. This is what I want to be covering on the show. So if it is, or if it turns out to be an anti-flurf and me yelling and swearing at him, then I can only apologise in advance. But it was supplied by Michael Kahn, who's a genuinely good bloke. Go and subscribe to Michael Kahn. Kahn is the surname. But Michael Kahn is... I like watching Michael Kahn. He produces material. He's not always producing flat earth material, so most recently he's been covering crime. And I like that too. And I like Bruce Withers. So cool. Go and check out Michael Kahn's channel. Hopefully someone will put a link to him, but not yet. You know, I want you to toddle along to the Map Reading Company first and foremost, because we're covering him today, as much as I want to help out my one of my Patreons who's also a videographer. But we're covering this videographer who he shared with me. So Michael Kahn definitely gets a mention. But for now, I'd like you moreover to go and tell the Map Reading Company at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The link's going by in the live stream chat, so you can do this now. I'm not saying it just for my health. If you're amongst the, let's have a look how many people, amongst the 50 odd people that are in the live stream chat currently, please do exactly that. Pop along to his channel and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube bots. And in case you're wondering why I'm saying the same thing over and over again, it's to give you, the audience, a chance to go and do exactly this. So when you come back, I'm still making the same call to action. It's like you never went anywhere, right? But I do want you to actually put a comment on his video so that he knows we've covered him. Good, bad, or indifferent. But from the first 15 seconds or whatever I covered of it, 30 seconds when I listened to it, to let Michael Kahn know. Thank you. This is just exactly what I was hoping for when I asked people to give me normies doing normie stuff when they're out and about doing their do, right? That's what this guy's doing. Can you all see? Is it nice and clear in the Google chat? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Right, hopefully I've given enough time for my audience to pop along to the Map Reading Company and let him know in the nicest possible way that we've covered his video. And the idea of that, in case the Map Reading Company comes to my channel and goes, why have you done that? Well, because we get censored. Yeah, YouTube, I thought they couldn't censor me anymore. I might as well say this now. I'll do my call to action. Go and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And hopefully you'd do the same for me. If you were to respond and go, no, actually, I disagree with you. You've misinterpreted what I said. What I meant was X, Y, Z. I'd hope that you'd do the same for me, Map Reading Company, and put a link to my channel, because I get heavily censored to the point now where not only do I get minimal engagement from my own audience because it doesn't go into their feeds, now, once the live stream's ended, it's made invisible by YouTube unless you've got a link to the PC version of the live stream. It won't play on a mobile device. It now says processing and is processing for approximately 18 hours. And then it goes live and is available to the audience via anything other than a PC with a link. So essentially, these videos that are dead in the water after a day anyway, which is why I do so many of them, to keep the cogs turning, are made invisible to most people for 18 hours as they're processing it. And they've started to do the same with the pre-recorded shows. So they've started to process them indefinitely. I have to keep going back to them and re-upload them. So my current video that I've spent 4 hours making yesterday isn't available to my members, and the live stream disappeared for 18 hours. So there's always another level of censorship that they can put on me. There's always one more. Why would you need to do this? If Earth was actually measured ball shape, would you need to do any of this shit to me? No. Would I need to have 3 different jobs, making a book, vlogging microphones, and being a YouTube videographer, along with being a father who homeschools? Would I need to do that if you were right about it being a globe? There'd be no need. You just prop up yourself with your globe Earth measurements and go, there you go, there's some globe Earth measurements. What actually happens? Every single globe Earth claimed to be measurement always leads to a flat Earth prerequisite in the first instance when you've actually measured the surface. Every measurement of Earth is flat. That's what we're talking about. So we need people put around us to tell you that our measurements of flat Earth are arguments that actually would be the same on a globe. You need to hide my shit from the audience for 18 solid hours before they can see my live stream after it's finished. You need to constantly process my videos so they don't actually appear at all unless I go and re-upload them. That's what YouTube will do. After removing us from the lists anyway and replacing us with anti-flat Earth material that says, oh no, I know it looks horizontal in this elevation profile. That means it's globe-shaped. Yeah, those are the people that will have the videography views directed to them. If you're arguing against flat Earth, like that guy yesterday, Dr. Blitz, he's got the same size channel as me. He had 55,000 views in 5 days on the video we covered yesterday. Now, that is deeply upsetting to somebody who spent 11 years covering this subject as a subject matter expert now, which is what I consider myself. That some wanker who can't even figure out if he's live or not can get endless views funneled towards him while my video spends its day processing after going live. Why? I'll tell you why. Because we're right. Earth's measured flat by everyone, including the globe believers. So they've got to apologise to their audience members. Yeah, it's flat, but that's because it would be easier to do it that way. Right? That's what you've got to direct the views to. Someone apologising for how flat and non-globe shaped the measurements are, because actually it'd be the same if it was globe shaped. That's what you've got to do. All the time censoring the living daylights out of me. Very, very upsetting as a long-time videographer on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for about 20 years. So 11 of them being flat Earth directly. As a subject matter expert, when I struggle to get 1,000 views and there's wankers in my comments, oh, you only get 1,000 views? Yeah, I've had 9 million views on this channel because I still do the work. I still constantly put videos out on a daily basis. So I still get my 9 million views total, even though I'm struggling to hit 1,000 on each of them. Yeah? Meanwhile, some wanker saying, yeah, look how flat this is. It's probably because it's globe-shaped. We'll get 55,000 views in 5 days, and they'll rake the money in. That's disgusting behaviour from YouTube. YouTube are scum in terms of how they treat videographers with censorship that's totally unjustified. I talk about Earth measurements. I don't say Emperor's got no clothes, but that means it would be the same if he had. I say, here's the measurements. That's it. Here's the pitch data. Pitch up with respect to horizontal. They're measuring their parallel flight level off surface level. There you go. End of statement of fact. Censor him! Process his video for 18 hours. Make sure nobody comes from his own subscription base. Don't put his video anywhere if you search him by name. Put Dave McKeegan up instead. Put Dr. Blitz up. Because then you can listen to some wanker going, am I live? Am I live? Can you hear me? For 5 straight minutes. Well, me, I'm running 2 different panels, running a live show, talking to camera, arguing for the globe bollocks, and putting people in their place with flat Earth measurements. Does that mean I'll get more than 1,000 views? No. You won't even find my video for the first 18 hours after it's gone live. That's what I have to suffer. Why? You'd think it would be totally unnecessary if it was actually measured globe-shaped. It isn't. Earth is measured flat. That's why the egregious censorship from YouTube. It's necessary because you bunch of numpties believe you're on a globe and that needs to be maintained. And there's a cost involved for maintaining that lie. The facts, the truth, are easy to comprehend. So you can't have me out there in any abundance because I'd have everyone listening that's hearing the same thing. Earth's just measured flat. Go and have a look at any measurement of it and you'll know for your certain fact that Earth is measured flat, because it is.
Today, I want to talk.
Good.
I was just going to say, you are dangerous for that, because in an empire of lies, isn't the truth the only thing you have to fear?
The truth.
Talk about triangulation pillars, or as they're more commonly known in the UK, trig points. Now, you can find trig points in every country in the world, but how they're constructed, what they look like, even what they're called is different in every country. As an example, in America, I think they're called trigonometrical stations.
Anybody familiar with these?
No, but if they're doing trigonometry, you're going to need a flat plane for that.
You're way ahead of the curve, aren't you, John? There's nothing getting past you today, I can tell.
In Australia, they're just called trig stations. South Africa would call them trig beacons, and in France, they're geodesic stations. But regardless of what they look like or what they're called, you can use those trig points, these enormous big lumps of concrete, to actually create an exact map.
Anybody seen these? Like I say, this is brand new on me and it's new on John, but nobody else answered. Does anybody have any familiarity? Has anybody ever seen one of these?
I think I may have, when I've been hiking and sort of mountain climbing. I've seen some of these knocking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say the same, and I've seen it on videos as well as in real life. Yeah, seen some.
Cool. I've not.
That will precisely measure every corner of a country, down to the millimeter. So today I want to go over how that's actually done. Now,
I wonder if this is going to be globe-shaped. Well, let's find out.
Let's start from the beginning. Before you can create a map, what you need is a baseline.
Sorry, a what?
Oh.
A baseline? Obviously, this will be curved, right? Because we're going to be talking about how curvy the world is when we measure it, right? What with it being alleged with lies and deceit to be curved?
A baseline is just a precisely measured distance between 2 points.
Sorry, it's like a straight line.
I think that in general, I don't know if he's going to go there, but I know we've said it and I've said it, and where the baseline for all elevation profiles on Earth would usually be sea level.
I mean, it's hard to tell because he just sort of held his hands out.
Beginning. Before you can create a map, what you need is a baseline. A baseline is just a precisely measured distance between...
Yeah, see, he's just got his hands out in a straight horizontal fashion. Like you can almost line him up with the... I don't know, it's a mountain, but whatever. I was going to say the horizon behind him. But he's just basically holding his hands out with 2 points that are straight, right? I mean, it's hard to tell. Maybe he'll clarify. We'll see.
Between 2 points. As an example, in 1937, the Ordnance Survey measured a distance of just over 11 kilometres along the Ridgeway footpath in southern England that later became known as the Liddington Baseline.
Go ahead.
That'd be
11 kilometers.
Hold on, Neil.
Yeah,
Go
that'd
ahead.
be linear, wouldn't it? I'm just going to say what Neil's probably going to say. That them distances are linear distances. That's when nobody's making that up. It's straight line distances along, so it's horizontal straight distance of, did he say 11 kilometres? I can't remember, but you get the point.
Oh, he's clarified it. He's drawn out a little diagram of a baseline, so we all know exactly what he's talking about. Go ahead, Neil.
It only goes maybe 7 miles, though. Can we get something bigger?
And that was extended outwards to make a triangle. So
Triangle, like straight lines meeting at vertices, like on screen, like it's 3 vertex points forming a triangle with 3 straight lines on the surface. Earth's being measured flat.
another trig point was added. Another triangle was added to each side of that first one, and these triangles kept continuing outwards until every section of the country was covered. There are
Earth's measured flat, ladies and gentlemen. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. There's no unequivocals. It's not up for debate. It's not up for discussion. That's how Earth is measured. Flat. There's no exceptions to this fact.
Yeah.
That's just how it's measured. It's not a debate. It's not an argument. It's a statement of fact. Simple. Go ahead, Wondick.
Well, he's just shown like a horizontal baseline at the starting point of the two trigs, and then it's extended out all along that horizontal baseline that he's shown will be all in relationship to all that extended triangulation and trig. So I suppose everything you could say was sort of on the same horizontal baseline across the region.
Yeah.
However, large it is.
Yeah, in the same way we've got the benchmarks that I covered that are a little marker on buildings and such like, sometimes on walls, something that's a permanent feature. And they give you your height off the sea level across the whole country. Now we've got a different system, also used by Ordnance Survey.
A lot of websites that will tell you just what I've said. There are a lot of videos that will tell you just what I've said.
And I want to cover all of them. Yeah, I want to cover these videos. I don't want to cover wanker, lying, scumbag, racists that say, if you see something that's flat, that axiomatically requires it to be so you can be parallel with it. That would be the same if it's globe-shaped. I don't want to cover wankers anymore. I'm sick of it. Right? I just want to cover normal people. Normal people who say, here's how we measure Earth. There's loads of videos out there that show you how we measure Earth. Flat, with a horizontal baseline, with respect to sea level. Or if you're talking about flights, parallel with the surface, measured with a height perpendicular to it for straight and level flight. These are what normal people do. They're not going, you know what? Actually, it's because it's ball-shaped that we measure it flat. Actually, this horizontal baseline that we're going to use to establish a baseline for the measurements of the surface, for this system of measurement for mapping, that's actually because it's just convenient when it's really ball-shaped. It'd be the same if it was ball-shaped. I'm sick of covering wankers. Sick of it. Even the thought of it makes me irritated. We're dealing with people who gaslight their audience into their own stupid misapprehensions when dealing with the facts of the measurements of Earth and its flat surface. Earth's measured flat, and there's a lot of people out there that just can't cope with that. YouTube are one of them. If I anthropomorphise YouTube into a person that doesn't like me spitting these facts. Now this guy, because he's not saying we're measuring Earth flat, therefore it's flat, because he doesn't form a modus ponens with his statements of absolute fact in terms of how flat Earth gets measured, he's allowed, because he's just not even thinking about it. He's not using it to make an explanation for how we're deceived into being on a bleeding ball. He's just talking about how flat we measure Earth, so he's okay, you can have a pass. Likewise, he's not me saying Earth's measured flat here, because Earth's flat, as opposed to the ball religion that you were given. So I don't get that same pass. But someone who comes along and says, how Nathan says Earth's measured flat when you take a parallel measurement from surface level in pitch data from black boxes. Well, Nathan's a stupid flat earther. He doesn't understand it'd be the same if it was globe-shaped. Suddenly the NTSB data is Nathan's data. Now, if you're saying that, yeah, you can be okay too. If you're saying, you see how this altitude measurement, this profile, you see how it's horizontal and flat? That's because it's just convenient to do that. It still means we're on a ball, though. That person can get a pass. That person can be put in my place when you search for me by name. Yeah? Because I am dangerous. Because I decry your faith in a ball that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, there's plenty of normies out there, and I want to cover them all. Normies that say, yeah, it's just measured flat. And I want them to have you telling them that I've covered their video. So I'm going to do that call to action now, and then we'll go to Neil. Please let this guy know, the mapping company, or map reading company, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that we covered this video, and how flat he measured Earth, because it is. Go ahead.
Just to back that up, let's just read this out for you. The primary measurement requirements for a trig point, hashtag triangulation pillar, were to provide a stable fixed base for a theodolite, that's a elevation angle measuring tool, and to have a clear line of sight above the baseline to at least two or other trig points. This allowed surveyors to use the mathematical process of triangulation to accurately map the surrounding area.
Yeah, see, they're not saying it's measured flat. They're showing you it's measured flat.
Yeah, it goes without saying. You don't need to say it, because it's just how it's measured. It's not turning it into an argument, is he? Why would that be necessary? It's just telling you how the process is done, how the measurements of Earth are made. He doesn't need to draw a conclusion that this flat measurement of a flat baseline for a flat surface level with an eye level parallel with a different trig point in the distance axiomatically tied to surface level, baselines, flatness, means Earth's flat. It's not an argument. He's making measurements. That's the point I want to make. Because people think that it's Nathan Oakley's argument when we measure trig points flat. No, it's not an argument. That's just how we measure Earth. Ipso facto, it is flat. So you don't have to make the conclusion that it's flat when it's demonstrably measuring it that way. I'll be the one to do that. And what, is it going to be Nathan's trig points like it's Nathan's NTSB pitch data? Or Nathan's parallel eye level and surface level in straight and level flight? Nathan's suddenly all pilots? Nah. We'll cover more and more normies that just measure Earth flat. But they don't highlight that that stands in direct contradiction to how allegedly ball-shaped it is when we're measuring it flat. Because Earth is flat. If it wasn't, we wouldn't measure it flat. There's an argument. Not necessary because we've got flat Earth measurements to lean into. Like this normie's leaning into them. He's just not overtly stating that means Earth's flat. Because then he'd need censoring like I am.
Well, he'd sound like a fool if he said to start out with trigonometry, we got to use this curved baseline.
Yeah, he'd sound like a numpty,
ridiculous.
wouldn't he?
Explains the process. How do you create a triangle that may
You don't if it's curving, because then it's not an angle.
be 2 or 3 miles on either side? You can't.
Miles are a horizontal linear distance measurement along a flat surface, like the scales on maps.
Stretch a tape measure along it. So that's what I want to do today. I want to go through the actual process of triangulation and how you use, as I said, these lumps of concrete to map an entire country.
Flat.
I suppose the first thing to go over is what exactly is this? Is it just a lump of concrete?
Yes.
No, it's not just.
No, it is just a lump of concrete.
It is an extremely precisely positioned lump of concrete.
So just a lump of concrete then?
And what this was
It's not a lump of concrete and gold. It's a lump of concrete.
Yeah,
for
but
is
I
this
bet, Nathan, I bet the top of it's level.
Yeah, I bet it is.
would use as a base for a theodolite, and a theodolite could best be described as a telescope with an inbuilt protractor, so that you could look through the telescope.
Can I just say something there, mate?
Yeah.
I think it'd best be described as a elevation angle measuring tool. That's what it's designed for, measuring angles, elevation angles. But hey ho.
Telescope and take very precise angles.
Earth's measured flat. So if we're measuring angles from respect to the baseline and you're establishing the baseline on the top of this piece of concrete, it's just a piece of concrete. I'm only joking, I'm messing with the guy. Anyway, then you're measuring angles for the surface. What's that? I can hear it crying out from the anti-flat earth realm. It's not the surface! It's measuring the frickin' surface, Dumbos.
From an object that was.
I bet Nathan. Sorry, I bet, like you said, these were. I don't know when these were built or established, but the theodolite you have to level the theodolite up, and get it level. Hence why the top of that will be level, so the theodolite is working correctly to get the correct angle measurement. I notice I'm not mentioning anything about curvature yet.
A long way away. Now these are always sighted so that you can see 2 other trig points in some direction. So the surveyor could use his theodolite, which would be placed onto the top, and he could then take bearings or angles to nearby trig point. Each trig point has its altitude marked on a map, and that is simply the difference between the trig point and the average sea level, which in the UK is defined as a line marked on the wall.
So yeah, so they're all in reference to sea level, these trig points. Yeah, not only are they level and all horizontal distances between them on a baseline that's equal to all of them, they're all in reference to the 0 degree baseline that we call sea level. Sorry, I mean mean sea level.
They have to be.
Do I need to say it again? I think I will, just for brevity. Earth is measured flat. Earth is surveyed flat. Earth is flown over flat. Earth is navigated flat. Earth is flat.
In the harbour at Newlyn in Cornwall. It's known as Ordnance Datum. Now, whereabouts on the trig point is the actual height? Is it the top, or is it the bottom, or in the middle? Now, remember, we're talking millimetres here, so it has to be precise. Most trig points have one of these. They have a flush bracket. If they've never had a flush bracket, then the registered height is the nearest piece of natural ground. So if they have got a flush bracket, then the height marked on a map is of the flush bracket. Let's have a zoom in on this just so you know what I'm talking about.
Height is a measurement from sea level. Elevation is what he's referencing when he talks about his flush point or the nearest piece of actual ground. Again, just to reiterate, Earth is measured flat. There's no ambiguity here, is there?
No, but it contradicts what Dr. Brooks was saying yesterday.
He's a wanker who couldn't even cope with his own live stream for the first 5 minutes of it.
So this is a trig point flush bracket. This is what they look like in the UK. They're called flush brackets just because they sit flush to the trig points.
Hold on, I'm writing this down. Flush.
Sit flush.
What you've got here is you've got 4 holes, you've got some letters, OSBM, which just stands for Ordnance Survey Benchmark.
So it's a benchmark.
Yep.
I've already covered this. It's a benchmark then. So it's with respect to sea level. That's what it is.
You've also got a 3-pronged arrow.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's flush, so that means it's only touching it at one point, like a tangent, right?
Now, I would imagine that it's parallel with the surface level at 90 degrees to it because it's vertical on this piece of concrete.
And then a number. Sometimes they have a letter prefix to the number. Contrary to what I've heard many people say, this number has nothing whatsoever to do with the height of this trig point. All it is it's a ledger reference. So
Yeah, it's the book number. So it's where if you're ascribing a particular value so that you can look up that benchmark. Now, the ones that I've seen don't even have a number. You just have to know where it is. So you look it up based on its location. So mine, it's St. Mary Magdalene's Church. And then you go to the church and you find the benchmark. And then you'd have to look up the values ascribed to that benchmark. So he's saying this is no different because obviously in this instance, there's no church there. So what are you going to reference it with? You need something to put in the, as he put it, ledger, or put it in the book, basically. What do you put in the book? Well, you put the number that's on the flush point. I wrote it down.
So that the Ordnance Survey can identify this specific trig point, and as opposed to any others. So the 4 holes at the top, what would happen is a attachment would be attached. An attachment would be attached, is that
I'll just write this down.
correct? Yeah, that'll do.
Attachment will be attached. Got it.
An attachment would be attached to the flush bracket, which would allow a metal plate to be placed onto
Attached.
the top of the 3-pronged arrow. The actual height of this trig point, the registered height, is the precise point at the top of the 3-pronged arrows. Now, it's impossible to get hold of these attachments anymore.
I can only just make it out, but it is actually the same thing as an actual Ordnance Survey benchmark. So the 3-pronged arrow he's talking about, it looks like a table. It also looks a bit like a spaceship, but it's a straight line with 3 lines pointing at it. It's a literal benchmark, so it's a pre-made iron version of what's chiseled into the side of the church when I showed my video on benchmarks. It's just the same thing, but manufactured.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, Nathan.
What?
Sorry. I remember you going over that with Brian.
Yeah.
because they're from the 1930s, 1960s time. So I made my own. So this is what it looks like. I don't pretend to be a carpenter, but I'll have a go at most things. And what would happen is that would, the circular sections at the top of the attachment would be inserted into the top holes, and then that would secure it.
That's cool. I like that a lot. Thank you. I think that's ace. I love a widget or a dongle.
Then they would get a piece of metal, and they would run it along the top of the attachment into the flush bracket so that it's sitting on the top of the three-pronged arrows. Using a spirit level, they would...
Sorry, what do we need that for?
What is it?
What's that for?
Oh, it's not a curveball.
It's a level, not a curveball.
So why do we need this? Is it because we're going to axiomatically tie it to the perpendicularity 90 degrees to the surface level with this tool called a spirit level? I'm going to go with yeah. Let's just say it again just for brevity. Yeah, Earth is measured flat. There's no exceptions. Shout out to Michael Kahn, right? Can someone dig out Michael Kahn's channel and share it in the YouTube live stream, please? One of my mods, hopefully, if there's a mod in the house. Can someone dig out Michael Kahn's channel so we can share him? He gave me this video, and this is exactly what I was hoping for, right? Somebody who's substantially bigger than myself. He's got 161,000 subscribers. So it's not like people are unfamiliar with him, right? He's been obviously doing it long enough to build up a decent audience, and he has got one. And he's got a video with 500,000 views, 536,000 over a couple of years. Fantastic. This is exactly the kind of stuff I want to cover. Can you tell by my demeanour, right? I'm not spitting feathers like I was in the pre-show, dealing with shills and racists. I'm just dealing with a normal guy who's happy to share his knowledge of how flat he's going to measure Earth. Look how delighted he is with telling you... Hold on, what did he say it was again? Attached. Oh, he's attached this. He's delighted with himself, isn't he? He's not cognitively dissonant. He's not apologising for how globe-shaped it isn't, is he? He's just telling you how it's done. And how is it done? It's done flat. Because that's how Earth's measured. There's no exceptions to it. Now, if we were to measure it anything other than flat, we'd measure it that way. We don't, though. We just measure Earth flat. Because Earth is flat. Exactly as we measure it, like this guy's going through. And any guy, any girl, anybody who measures Earth will have to do. They all measure Earth flat. Because Earth's always measured flat. There aren't any exceptions. What there are numbskulls and deceivers who'll tell you, well, this flat measurement's only because it's convenient to measure it that way. That's what you'll get.
Would simply make sure that the top of the attachment was perfectly level. Mine isn't. Hang on.
Perfectly level, something you don't have on a sphere, by the way. The belief in a sphere that's derived from these flat Earth measurements that we make the maps with, that's level. Deviation thereof is not something that you can ever be afforded in this process. Notice how he's not measuring Earth curve shape. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on, mate. Sorry.
No, I was just going to round out by saying, notice he's not measuring it curvy. He's measuring it flat.
Yeah, that's not a curve, it's a level. But I agree totally, Nathan. These videos, it's like it's just confirming everything we've been saying and going over. But it's so nice and enjoyable to hear a professional go over what we're saying without listening to nonsense. It's great. Continue down this road, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a guy in chat saying it's flat doesn't mean it's flat. Show the data. Well, here you go. Here's a guy showing you right now.
I want that person banned. Yeah, just ban that person, whoever you are. If you're in my mod, that person that's pouring scorn on this very, very nice gentleman and saying what, just because he's measuring it flat doesn't mean it's flat. Ban that person. Please?
Yeah, I did. I timed him out.
Good.
Let me just adjust it slightly.
Just for the record, if that person that got banned wants to moan, you can go to this guy's video and say, Nathan Oakley says that when you were measuring it unequivocally flat with triangles and flat baselines, he was saying that means Earth's flat. Yeah, I was, and I absolutely encourage everybody to do the same. But what I'm not going to have is shill shitbags in my chat stream trying to undermine me. Because it's not me you're undermining, it's him. The guy we're covering, who's measuring Earth flat. Not me. But you'll tell me and my audience that doesn't mean it's flat. Well, is he measuring it anything else other than flat? No, he's just measuring it flat. But it needs you to undermine that fact, doesn't it? Globe believer. Well, you're just going to get banned. I'm tired of it. Tired of your shit and your cognitive dissonance being poured on my audience. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. You want to come here and gaslight us and say, just because you say it's flat. No, he's making measurements. He's telling you how the Ordnance Survey measured the entire country. But you want to tell me that's just us saying it? No, he's demonstrably showing how Earth gets measured and it's flat. But you say otherwise. Bye-bye, you're getting banned. And so will every one of you shitbag lying gaslighters who come along to say, just because this man unequivocally must axiomatically measure it flat for Ordnance Survey to utilise it, doesn't mean it's flat. Piss off, get lost, you're getting banned.
Yeah, don't even react to them. They're absolute idiots, they are. So from now on, we don't... I mean, why have we even tried to argue with people who are saying level's not level anyway and horizontal's not horizontal? It's absolutely absurd. These people need to sign themselves into a lunatic asylum. I mean, this guy's great. He's showing us how it's done in reference to sea level, horizontal. It's used the other lights, elevation angle measuring tools. Fantastic.
Yeah, what you can do, you can click on the link and you can either cower in fear and moan about how I've got a mute button, or you can come try and gaslight me and have your asshole ripped through your throat. That'd be saying you're going to have me shouting at you on a live stream? Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Or you can go, Nathan's got a mute button. If you had a decent enough argument, in this case it would be a measurement of Earth's sphericity, you'd present it and you'd put me in my place. You'd shut me up. Instead, you can only do that with censorship. But the cowering, cuck, moaning globetards have to say, Nathan's got a mute button. I've got an open door. You can come in, I'll listen to you. Tell me how, just because he's measured it flat and detailed how flat it must be, just because he's using a spirit level and describing axiomatic principles of perpendicularity and level, doesn't mean it's exactly what he's just described for the last 10 straight minutes. You can tell me that, and then I'll rip your teeth through your mouth. That's what I'll do. Metaphorically speaking. Because it's nonsense gaslighting from idiots who just want to believe that in spite of us unequivocally measuring Earth flat, doesn't mean it's flat. Get lost. You can have a verbal ass whooping, but you're not going to do it in my comment section or my chat. You'll just be banned. Yeah? If you're one of my mods, that's me giving you free reign. When you see these gaslighting scumbags coming to my chat to say, just because this man's measured it flat 6 ways from Sunday doesn't mean it's flat. Ban them permanently. They can still come in. They can come in through the Discord server, and they can be verbally chastised by me. Or they can go somewhere else and moan about how scary Nathan is.
Well, to be fair, Nathan, before you go on, he was talking about the pitch data, but I brought it up because this guy right now is demonstrating it. So here you go.
Right, let's do a few super chat shout-outs, as there's been several that have gone by that I haven't actually shouted out, so let's do that first. Shout out to click, who says Philemon, I think he's talking about a chat participant maybe. Verse 3.
Oh, that's Bible.
Oh, okay. Good morning, Viet fam. I just prayed for you and even our enemies. Did you feel it? Did you get it? Goosebumps. Peace sign. Okay. Thank you very much for the super chat. Click. Also, Len Lennox. Curverts bum their imaginary curve. That's depraved on multiple levels, Len. But thank you for the super chat.
I would like to consider the following argument in this position, and it goes something like this. Nuh-uh.
Oh, hold on. Everyone be quiet. Shh. No. I got it written down. I'll figure out a way to rebut it later.
And then what they would do is they would get I can only describe it as a large ruler. I couldn't find one other than a very expensive one on Amazon, so I thought I'd make my own. This would then sit on top of the attachment, and whoever was taking a theodolite reading from another hilltop or somewhere else could simply put their crosshairs on the ruler, and let's say that they put their crosshairs on number 5.
This principally can only work if you've got the two on the same plane of reference. Otherwise, this fails, doesn't it?
Yes.
They would know that that was 5 inches or yards or whatever above the flush bracket.
Only if they're on the exact same plane of reference. So they must be and are axiomatically tied to the same flat planar surface level. The baseline, the one he described first off. So in other words, how can I phrase this in a concise way? Earth's measured flat.
Basically showing there, like, you know, the line of sight parallel to surface level across a large distance, linear distance, that is.
Yeah, it's parallel. You've got to have a baseline for them to both tie to the same measurement level. That's why you're going through this process, to make sure it's level with the other point.
Brackets work on...
Sounds a bit like the... so it sounds like the curve calculator measurements in the first instance, before them measurements was calculated into a curve.
Yeah, as in they're utilising the surface level and parallel eye level. Yes, that's correct.
Ordnance survey trig points. One of the questions I get asked quite often when I'm talking about this subject...
It's going to go downhill real quick now if he starts talking about ball-shaped stuff. We'll see.
...is, how do you actually measure a distance across valleys and lakes and what have you that may be...
With a horizontal linear distance measurement that will be ascribed at the end of it. So the measurement process is what it'll go through, but the end result is horizontal and linear in terms of the actual ascribed value. Doesn't matter if it's miles or kilometres.
2 or 3 miles apart. I'm going...
That would be a flat horizontal linear ascribed to that value, 3 in this instance, miles in the value. That's a flat Earth distance that he's just given you.
To explain how you measure a location of a new trig point. Now, this is my group survival shelter, but it'll do for our... This is our new trig point. So I'm just going to throw it in that direction into the long grass. So here we go. I can't actually see it now.
What he needed was a comedic sound effect from a woman going, ow! That would have been a lot funnier. Anyway.
I hope I can find it in the long grass. What I've got is I've got T1, trig 1, and over there is T2, trig 2. So we know...
Dun 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 dun.
Know that T1 to T2...
Dun 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 dun.
I just got that.
...is 1, 2, 3. So it's 12...
Na, 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 na.
12.34 miles, 12.34 meters, 12...
So is it just me, or is this flat? I can't see because you've got the text on it. Let's just turn those subtitles off.
No, that's flat.
Is it just me, or is it just Earth being measured flat again? Oh my God, I can't really think of the concise way of putting this. Earth's measured flat. It's because it's flat. There's no other way to measure it. There's no exceptions to how it's measured. It is always measured flat. What's that? Just because he's measured it flat in many different ways, it still means it's flat. You don't have to draw that conclusion. It's demonstrable in the measurements here. Earth's measured flat.
12.34 yards, or rods, or chains, or furlongs, or
any horizontal ascribed to the distance, flat and linear that it is.
whatever the unit of measurement of that particular country is. So we need to work out, we only know the distance between those 2 points. We need to now work out the sides of our triangle to our new trig point that seems to have disappeared into the long grass. I'm sure we'll find it. So let's go through now how you actually do that. Those 2 points there, T1 and T2,
dun 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 dun,
trig 1 and trig 2, we know that the distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 12.34 between them. We also know from a previous survey that the compass bearing from T1 to T2 is 134, so the back bearing must be 314. So I found my new trig point. It's just here, so we'll drop this back where it is. So this is going to become, we've got T1 and T2. We'll call this, I don't know, TN, trig new. Now, I don't have a theodolite, A, because they're very expensive for a proper one, and also I teach I teach navigation and map reading with a handheld compass. The most accurate compass I've got is this. This is the Francis Barker M73. You can take bearings down to 30 minutes with these. 30 minutes, by the way, don't forget there are 360 degrees in a circle, and each degree can be divided into 60 minutes. So 30 minutes is half a degree. In fact, you probably take it down to 15 minutes, a quarter of a degree, if you're really, held it properly. So let's have a look. I need to take a bearing from here to T1. So let's have a look. I'll do it properly. Put my thing up. So there's my bearing, looking down, keep it really still. The most accurate bearing I can get on this is 202.5. So I've got 202.5 degrees from here to T1, trig 1. Now,
no. He can't say from on a ball. That's not how that works.
Yeah, but he's not measuring a ball.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They never do.
Remember that the bearing was 134. So the difference between 202.5 and 134 is, hang on, I should have got a calculator, 68.5 degrees. So I know that the angle of the triangle from this point here to T1 is 68.5. So I'm going to do exactly the same to T2, and then we'll go and draw it on our outdoor classroom board. So here we go. So from T1, which is here, the new point is approximately here, and we've got the angle there. And this angle here is 68.5. So we also did the same to T2, and we had an angle of 51.5 there. Look at this. I mean, this is production value. Now, if you remember from school, the internal angles of a triangle must all add up to 180. So 51.5, 68.5, which means that the angle at TN, trig new, is 60 degrees. Obviously,
Okay, I mean, I think I've seen enough. I don't know if there's anything else to this video that would help us in our endeavours. It's pretty obvious what he's doing, how he's doing it, what it requires Earth to be, because that's how he's measuring it. What do you think? Do you think I need to continue?
So that 180 that it adds up to, so when they take 3 different points in 3 different areas and try to make it add up to 180, it never will. So I didn't understand the argument back then either.
But that's just not how it's measured, is it, Neil? When you take a reified sphere and say that angles won't measure up to it, that number one, they're not dealing with angles, are they? Their nonsensical non-argument defies how Earth is actually being measured, doesn't it?
Yeah, because he's taking us through it now. It's smaller triangles, and they keep doing triangles. Brian was telling us that. They do it with triangles.
Yeah.
I think from what we've seen so far, I mean, what you can sort of if you've just had a quick view of that, is like you've got these trig points. They're all in relationship to each other along a horizontal baseline, and you can keep extending them out across a region or country or town.
Yes.
Yeah, and they'll have something else in common. They've got information on them that will give you the height above sea level. So they're in reference to sea level. They're in reference to each other along a baseline. They're set up to use an instrument which is designed to measure elevation angles, which is the theodolite. So it sounds like it's all triangulation, angle measurements, level, sea level. Yeah, so I think the point's been made. I think Earth's measured flat.
If we could help Nathan with his censorship by saying, you know what, that's why it's a really big ball.
No, but it isn't. You can't do this if it's a really big ball. That's the point, isn't it? And I'm not going to... No, I'm not going to do that, right? So there is a temptation to do a ranty flat earth or a Jeranism and go, you know what? Life's too short. If I want to be algorithmically favoured, if I want popularity, I just have to go against every fibre of my being and lie and say, this process that is unequivocally flat and can only be done on a flat earth using flat earth measurements, flat earth prerequisites, horizontal baselines, angles, surface level, eye level, parallel, all of these axiomatic principles that are being used for a measurement of Earth's surface, they're just because it's ball-shaped. I'm not going to do that. Now, I'll suffer the consequences of YouTube censoring me for 18 hours solid on my live show and processing it. Processing it? What's the process? Meanwhile, your shill and your shitbag anti-flat earthers will get 50,000 views over the space of 5 days when they figure out if they're live or not. Yeah? That's what I will suffer. Because the truth is easy to understand. Understanding how ball-shaped it is because of all of what we've just gone through is cognitively expensive. It's cognitively difficult, and it'll leave you losing sleep. I'm not going to be the one responsible for that. I'm just going to tell you how Earth's measured. Flat. I'm not going to say that means it's ball-shaped. Or, well, if it was ball-shaped, it'd be the same as this flat measurement that we've just shown 6 Brave from Sunday. I'm not going to do that. Yeah? I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity. I'd rather take up a 4th job.
And good for you. Thank you.
Shout out to Len Lennox. Earth is obviously and observably measured flat. Therefore, Earth's a sphere. You've got the same sense of humour as John. Because that's what John just did. Very funny. Oh, I didn't see the emojis. He's then got a laughing face, a clown, and then a ball Earth. Very funny, Len. I love it. Absolutely wonderful. Right, is there any other comments that anybody wants to make? Before we round out a live show, that is. Nope. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, what's it called again? The map reading company know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots or the map reading company himself. Nice chap that he was. I really enjoyed covering that video. I've got to be honest. I've enjoyed covering that more than any video in the last 6 months, because almost every video, I think without exception, has been from an anti-flat earther. This is just a normal guy who enjoys talking about his points on concrete blocks and hanging a little device that he's made off it and putting his level on it. He loves it, right? He looked happy, genuinely happy. Now, I'm not going to feel guilty pointing out that that flies in the face of the one world religion of heliocentrism. It does, because it's measuring Earth flat. And I understand that that's going to leave me needing to be censored. But this guy, he can still be known, he can still be told and be let known that we've covered his video. We, flat earthers, have covered his video. And we think he's a really nice guy, because he was a genuinely lovely chap. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley. A massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels, and I will see you all in the next video.